Hello, my lovely. Welcome back to the channel. And in this episode, we'll be exploring some of the game dynamics that make Foundation so interesting to play. We're going to dive deep into trade settings and village resources, supply chain planning, even in a tight budget. So let's set the stage for a prosperous community to build and meet the needs of our villagers along the way. So settle in, grab your favorite brew and berry snack, and let's keep building something lovely together. Hi, my lovelies. Welcome back to Coeur de Lis. And we left this game in I think a pretty good state last time. We were talking about the tools and taxes in the last episode, and you can see our tool inventory is actually quite good right now, 36, and we'll pop open the royal book. This is what I wanted to explain last time because this confused me, to be fair, when I first started playing the game. So let me just go into that now. Take a few minutes. The village inventory. Oh, my game is on pause, by the way, so nothing happening there. The village inventory, and I really wish the developer would turn this into an alphabetical list, because you can see it is not alphabetized, and if you're looking for something, yeah, they probably grouped it in a certain way that made sense, like, oh, wooden planks are together, berry brew and herbs are together, but where's the beer? Not that I drink beer, but, where's the beer? So I don't understand why they've not done that. But in any case, the some of these items, by the way, cannot ever be traded. You cannot find a community to trade with. So let me just pop over there quickly to demonstrate one. So if you got really proficient at creating a certain product in your community, then you would look to a trade route, because that's a form of income. And as I said back in the original video, my goal is to keep taxes low and to earn income for my town using lots of trade. So here we have the Northbury route. So I just want to do a little scan here. Cloth is something that, I traditionally, when I've played this game, have had quite a bit of supply. And sure, cloth can get turned into clothing. But if you just wanted to sell cloth, and, let's have a look. So can't sell it in Northbury, can't sell it in Middle. I say Middle, maybe it's Midle. Anyway, Davenport, you can't sell it. There's no cloth to be sold. No cloth in Trotbury or Kinstone Abbey, no cloth, and no cloth to Castle Harbour. So I find that really disappointing in this game. I found it out the hard way. I was super happy. I was producing a lot of material cloth and then not producing, lots of clothes. And sure, you can sell clothes, but that's just more of the supply chain, like the end product. And sometimes the amount of cloth can get crazy, especially when you have a couple of sheep farms, weavers, which I do like to have in my communities. Anyway, so that aside, one of the things that you'll notice is that when you open a trade route, you'll be able to buy and sell different things. So let's have a look. So with berries, we can buy them until, and then it says inventory reaches the value. So if I wanted to buy berries until the inventory reached 100, I would be buying them until we have this number, 34 right now, available, currently available, until it reaches 100. And I would be buying it from Northbury, because we have a trade route with Northbury, and they sell berries, okay? And if you look at the other communities, Castle Harbour, they don't sell berries. Kingston Abbey, they don't sell berries. Trotbury, no berries. Davenport, no berries. Midle, no berries. Only Northbury. Okay, so that's who you'd be buying it from, and you'd be buying it at whatever rate they're selling them. So maybe 2 coins or 1 coin, etc. So that's how that works. So buy until the inventory reaches this value, and you can just enter a number. I could put in 88 if I wanted to, or I can just go up and down using these little arrows. Okay, in this case I do not want to buy berries because we can gather as many of them as we like. So this symbol here is buy until. Okay, you see it's this browny color. This is grayed out, and we don't need to buy it anyway. This is just an example. So it's not available to buy, and it's not available to sell. Meat. Okay, we do have the ability in our trade routes to buy and sell meat. So let's have a look. So we have Northbury, we can sell meat for 3 coins for each one of them. And we have with Trotbury the ability to buy it for 6. So obviously buying 6 at 6 coins and selling for 3, we're not going to make a lot of money if we're spending, you know, double the amount to buy something that we're selling. So 1 meat in is 6 and 1 meat out is 3. So we can buy and sell, or we can buy or sell or do nothing. So when we build up a supply of meat, so let's say that I'm going to sell everything. So I'm going to click that, which is now active because it's changed to this red. Again, I don't understand why the developers have used this type of, you know, color scheme to make things like red. Doesn't really make sense. But anyway, this is active. Why isn't it green? And now I could say sell meat, okay, anything above this value. So if I put 100 in here, nothing is going to be sold of the meat until we have more than 100 in storage, but it will sell anything above. Okay, and let's say this number was ridiculous. Let's say we had 300 meat in storage. When the merchants come and visit, they're not just going to buy like 200. They're going to take a chunk. And you'll see when the merchants come and it tells you on the screen, you know, who came and what did they buy. So it's a good idea to keep track of that. And as your community grows, you want to keep coming back to this and looking at your levels. So more people will eat more meat. So maybe this number needs to go up a little bit so that you don't leave your own community short of meat. So maybe when my community gets to 50 people, I might say, okay, well, I'm producing a lot of meat. I'll sell everything above 150. Again, community might grow and I might change this number to 200, etc. You get the idea. So right now I don't have any production. There's no hunting, there's no butcher, so I'm not going to set anything yet in the game. But that's how this resources work in conjunction with the trade route. And I hope that explanation helps. Maybe I'm the only one that had a bit of trouble deciphering what that meant when I first started playing the game. But anyway, I've explained it now, and hopefully you don't run into that trouble, and you could just enjoy the game and setting up these trade routes and not having these questions. Okay, so there's that. Okay, let's see one of the things that we want to do. So we do want to set up some trade eventually when we start producing. We do have a lot of fish, so we could actually, let's just go back to the royal book. See, can we sell fish to anybody? Sell no fish. We could sell fish to Trotbury. So let's go to the fish. And I'm just going to be very conservative. Again, it'd be so nice if it was alphabetical. I want to say that we're going to sell fish, and we're going to sell everything above 200. So when the merchant comes, she will buy anything above 200. So this will grow, and then we'll have a little bit of income, which will be really nice. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, now back to the main thing. So we want to produce tools. And if we look at our progression menu, we've unlocked tooling, which means that we'll create a supply chain. So we need charcoal hut, we need iron ore, then we need a smelter to create iron bars, which the blacksmith will use to put coal and iron together and produce tools. So when we let's just go, I'll come back to that in a second. Now when I go to the build menu, and I see that we have the goods resource production, and we have a charcoal hut, which the resources needed are 2 tools, 20 wood and 5 planks, and 25 coin. And we have that, that's not a problem. And so let's look at the whole supply chain. Then we have the iron smelter. Now the iron smelter needs 10 polished stone, 5 stone, 5 tool, 10 planks, and 50 coin. And then the blacksmith needs 6 tool, 10 stone, 5 polished stone, 20 planks. And it's 50 upfront coin cost. So what we're missing, if we look here, we don't have any polished stone. So we need to create a supply of material. And polished stone is made in the stone mason hut in the common path. And it will create a polished stone in exchange for 1 stone. So we need to unlock that for 50. So you see our coins are at 133. If I'd have gone ahead and just built the buildings required and not looked at what's needed to create those buildings, I probably would have spent most of that money and then not had enough to unlock the stonemason hut. So it's really important in this game that you kind of trace the full, cycle, supply chain, buildings, requirements, and then figure out where, especially when your money's not as high in the early stages, you want to be very careful about what you're spending money on. So there's a stonemason hut. Let's do that. And I'm going to put the stonemason hut close to the stone camp. So here it is, the stonemason hut, and it needs 8 tool, 10 wood, and 5 cloth. Again, most of these buildings, when you see the picture, you can tell it's going to need cloth. Cloth is important. So it's again going to become one of those scarce resources that we need to manage a supply chain for as we build, more of these buildings and create resource and trade, supplies to sell and things like that. Okay, so stonemason hut, you are going to go over here by the stonecutter camp. And I'm just going to put you near the path that's already been created or getting created, and make sure the triangles are free. And I'm going to create build and take the game off pause. Now let's wait for that. Let's have a look at the book. Okay, so the villagers would like more food than what we're offering. Fish and berries are unfortunately not enough to keep them happy. So we want to put food on the table and produce a refined food for our villagers. So I think that's really good advice to follow. I'm going to add that to our queue. And you can see we've got a couple of things going on here. We have some decorations because we unlocked that in the progression menu. So that's still waiting to be done. And we'll do that. And then we'll start building some food diversity. And one of the things that we can look for, there's bread, okay, and there's also meat. So to do the bread, the production for bread is you need a, hang on, didn't want to go there, want to go progression. For the bread, you could see it in the progression path. It's wheat farm, windmill, and bakery. So it's going to cost 50 to unlock that, and also will cost quite a bit of material resource to build each of those things. Okay, and we need space for the farm to grow the wheat. An easier thing to do, in my opinion, to get refined food is actually to do the butchering and to do the hut and then have a butchery. And if you remember, we can sell meat. So, and it sells quite well, 3 coin. So if I have limited funds, 64 coins, and I do, and I have 50 to unlock this, I think this is a wise investment. So that's what I'm do. And now we have new buildings available. So we'll go to food production and we can see that we have a hunter's hut. And just like when we were putting down the stone mason hut, if you remember, when you click on it, the game will light up where the resource is actually available to be collected, mined, foraged, hunted in this case. So I'll pick the hunter's hut, and now you can see we have some, makes sense, we have some boar available to be hunted. However, we don't have any place on our currently owned territory for them. In other words, I'll put this here just to start with to get my point across. Let me just zoom in here to see that's oriented the correct way. I'm going to build that. So when we go to paint where hunting is allowed, just like we paint where woodcutting is allowed, now we paint where hunting is allowed, we can't highlight any of this resource because we don't own that territory. So to buy that territory, okay, it's going to take 100 coin and 3 coin upkeep. So I'm not worried about the upkeep because we can just sell 1 meat and that will give us the upkeep cost. It's the upfront cost of 100, and we do not have 100 coins. We only have 4. So we need to solve that problem. Now let's just take a look at what we have going on here. Ta-da! We have levying funds. So yes, our treasury is low. I know that we're tending towards a plus on the coins, which is good, but that's not a lot. 13 coming from taxes and then upkeep. The math doesn't math, by the way. 13 minus 3 is not 9, it's 10. So we need to levy some coins from our villagers because we need to be able to buy that territory and get some butchering, hunting and butchering going. So this actually is some advice that you can take, but it will impact happiness. Now, let's look at happiness. Again, you can see, like, again, in the beginning when I started playing these games, I thought this is going to be really boring. But it's not when you start thinking through and problem solving, right? Like one thing opens up another thing, and then you have to trace it all around and figure out the best course of action given your current situation and where you're trying to go. Like it can be fairly strategic. Just being impulsive isn't going to help you win or succeed in this game. So refined food is minus 20%. So if we can get some meat into our community, that will refined food minus will go in a plus direction, which is great. Okay, we have someone coming. So we're on ×1 on our game speed. That's okay. That's okay. We've got a lot going on. So we'll just let's see. I must have clicked the other one. Sorry. Let's read this. So advice, trading stones for fish. So accumulate 25 stone and then we get 50 fish. And we actually don't need fish. So let's just skip this advice. They can keep. That's fine. Okay, so we have to levy the funds from the community. So we need to build a great hall and then complete the mandate. Now we are back to checking out what does that mean, building a great hall. So the first thing is, do we have the blueprint for it? And we have the blueprint because in the labor category, the manor house with the mansion with offices, etc., and then a great hall and a tax office. Okay, so we are okay on the progression. We have the blueprint. So let's build, and this is under administration, the manor house. Okay, now we already have the tax office. That's over here, right? We built that separately than the great hall. But now we need to build a great hall. This is a seat of our rule. And we need a room, a gathering location or a visitor location, and then a door. So let's look at the rooms that we have. And I'm going to pick something that we can build on, expand upon, because there's going to be other rooms that we'll add, and I'll explain that in a different episode. So let's go with the manor hall, the minor version. We don't need anything other than that. And I'm going to put the manor hall, the great hall, over the bridge. Okay, it doesn't really matter which way I turn you because you don't have a door yet. And I'm going to zoom in because I didn't explain this in the other build, but you'll notice there's an arrow vertical up and down, and you can build this to be multi-story. Okay, and it will, depending on how high you go. So we're going to go, if we went to that level, the cost of the resource to build that is now 40, 18, and 5. If we keep it this level, it's 30, 15, and 4. And we can, well, I don't know, it is kind of fun to make it as high as possible and not cost anything. I like to do that. So there we have the room. Now we need a door, and we're just going to do a simple manor entrance at the front near the path. And then an interactive location. This is where when visitors come to deliver messages from the kingdom, or there's other things going on, they will come and deliver that message to that location. So we'll build all of that. Okay, and that was, who are you? Trader from Northbury. Trader from Northbury. Buying from them this and selling them this, and they don't buy fish, but they do buy meat. So they were willing to spend 38 coin. Okay. Now our hunter's hut is ready, but we can't start hunting anything yet because we don't have the territory where the resource is. We need to wait for the Great Hall to be built so we can levy a mandate, to levy for the funds, or discuss a levy with your villagers. Basically, it's complete that mandate. So we'll let that carry on. In the meantime, the stonemason hut is being built. We've just got 5 cloth. And look, we actually have 0 cloth. So we have a resource missing. Now we have to go into the territory of trying to get some cloth without setting up the whole supply chain. So can we buy cloth? Yes, we can buy cloth. And we can buy cloth until the inventory, I'm going to say 10. And the trade route where we're going to buy that from is Northbury, who just left with cloth. Oh no, come back. Okay, so there we have the cloth. It will come around. We just can't panic about these things. So that hunter's hut is just waiting for the resource to be extracted, which means that it needs the painting, and we don't have that set up yet because we don't have the Great Hall to get the money to buy the territory, etc. So let's do something else. Let's go to the adding decorations. And this is a nice, fun thing to do. So in the game, in the build menu, we can add some common decorations. You can also add splendor type decorations if you click on buildings, some of the buildings. But for residences, we're just going to go in this common decoration. So we have a specific tasks. We need a rose bush, which is 5 coins, okay? A terracotta bench, which is this one, which is 5 coins. A young oak planter, which is this one, which is 20 coins, so that's 30 so far. A road sign, which is 5, and then a rope fence, which is 5. So that's more coin than we have. So we can't actually complete this advice yet either. And that means we just have to be a little bit patient. Okay, so the Great Hall is being built. Oh, thank goodness it's progressing very well, because we really, 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 really need the coins. And there are people coming. I'm going to speed up the game a little bit so they can hoof it over the bridge, as they say. Welcome to the village. And of course, adding to the population will give us more tax from the villagers, so that's going to help our coin tendency, right? Our taxes. Aha! And now we have the Great Hall, and we can select the mandate just in time. So we need to discuss a levy with the villagers. So that's what we're going to discuss. And we're summoning everybody to the Great Hall to discuss the hardship that we're under. Please, can you help out the community? Because it has to be done. And yes, happiness is going to go down, but that's okay. So, and the coins were levied, and now we actually have the ability to buy the territory that has the boar in it. And just to be sure, I'm going to keep that highlighted there. And it was this territory, and there we go. Now we can paint the hunting area. Yep, go ahead. And it's a good idea, once you've got a hunting area set up, is not to build other buildings around it. In my opinion, we should just, I know maybe it's other games that are more sensitive to this, but I just want to make sure that we don't scare away the animals. Okay, let's have a look. A message from the kingdom acknowledges the hard work, and we're going to get 150 coin because we are but your humble servant in this kingdom. Yes, we are not owning the kingdom, we are in the kingdom. So we're going to have the boar coming. The next thing we need to create in the food production is a butchery. So let's put the butchery over by, let's put you maybe, I don't get close to, that's an iron deposit, by the way, there's another one. So maybe I'll just put you over here. Okay, and put you kind of on the path and build that. And let's see, we still need cloth. We didn't get any dropped off. So one thing you can do, if you go up to the village map, you get a super bird's eye view. And let's see, who are you? From Trotberry, and we want Northberry. Trotberry, you are not going to help us out. Let's just go back to the village and click on the book. And it says the villagers caught the interest of the estates of the realm. Oh, very fancy. And they anticipate splendid monuments which will undoubtedly define the future of our people. So our manor houses will serve the laborers. So earn the approval of the laborers by building an impressive manor house. And we can do that, and we'll have a nice little task list that goes along with that. Okay, so we have some coins, and I think we could spend it on the decorations. Let's finish that. Stay focused. Come on, Nana. Let's go back to the decorations. So a rose bush. Let's put you in the garden here. That's a nice place. And it's around the warehouse as well. Build that. And again, I really wish this game would allow you to multi-select different things. I guess I haven't really tried that before, but there's the young oak planter, and I'll put that. It's a big thing. Now, notice that there's a green area, and it's lighting up the houses green. So that's nice. That's adding beautification to those two properties. And I'll just plop that down there, build that. And then we'll put up a road. Actually, we'll put the bench next, the terracotta bench. And we'll put it over here. And I'll zoom in, because with benches, they are interactive. And you'll see there's an arrow, which means that villagers will come and sit on the bench, and that's the entrance to the bench. So that's the front and that's the back. And build that there. So look, and thank you for demonstrating that feature. That was lovely. And again, come and sit by the young oak planter. And now we want to build a road sign and a rope fence. So the rope fence, we could put you, let's just put you there. So a little bit of privacy, and then we will add the road sign. Here we go. And we'll put the road sign in a pretty good location. You know, you can't change the words on it or anything. It's just a decoration, and we'll build that. And now that advice has been followed, and we have success, and we have some beautification and desirability to improve the village. So if I click on this house, you can see that the quality of the housing is desirable. There's beautification. There aren't any commoner residents yet. That's something that we'll work on as we progress through the game. Same thing with this house. It's benefiting from the decorations with beautification, this beautification area. And if I look at this house, it doesn't, because if you remember, when we put this down, the green houses that were lit up were these two here and not that one. Okay. So hopefully that explains that. And now we'll go back to the butchery. So we need a butcher or two, maybe. We've got 22 raw food in production. And we should change the granary to include some of the meat, the finished good. And then finally, to satisfy the villagers and make them happier. It's not really our responsibility to make other people happy, but in this case, this will make them a little bit happier, complain less, because if we create a market, remember, villagers can't just go to the butchery and buy the goods from there, or they can't just go to the gathering hut and get the berries from there, or the fisherman. Has to be done through a market stall. So we have a market tender, and then we're going to say yes, sell meat. And then once the meat is collected in the market and it starts getting consumed, that's when we'll see that refined food will get better, like it will increase. So negative increasing to more towards happiness, the needs are being met. So refined food will help us with that happiness level. So we're gonna invite that person, and we see our Fisher hut is full and we have some work to be done. Let's just have a look at the royal book, at the log. So somebody couldn't get to the destination. We'll sort, that might be one of those glitchy things. A courier requests an audience. And there we go. Trotbury bought 38 fish for 38 coins. So we have some coins, which is wonderful. And if you remember, when we built the Great Hall and we put in that interactive location, this is where the couriers will come. So improve our trade with Trotbury. So they want to trade more goods and they want help crafting vehicles, etc., etc. It's always a good idea. There's no time limit on that. That's just another piece of the puzzle when we go to look at our trade routes. We could see Trotbury. So we've just started that. It's at level 1. This is the volume that can be traded each item per visit. So that's going to help us, you know, that number could go up. In fact, what does it go up to? I need to pay more attention to that next time we level up a trade. So I'll keep that note to myself. So we need to increase our trade with Trotbury. And if we look at the mandates, we can see now we have to improve the Trotbury trade route by paying for that with 75 tools. So we need a bailiff. And a bailiff is something that is attached to the manor. And we will build the bailiff office in our next video. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And yeah, we're on our way. We have lots of things going on. And it will get busier and more spicy the more we build and the larger our community grows. But this is fun, right? Let's have fun. Play this fun, cozy game with a little bit of strategy. And yeah, we have our things about the game that we are complaining about. I'll invite you. But that's okay. No game is perfect. Life isn't perfect. But it's been perfectly lovely having you watch the video. We'll see you next time. Bye.